The winds of war have reached NATO's Balkan backyard. Is a conflict between Kosovo and Serbia inevitable?
No one ever lost money betting on chaos in the Balkans, and certainly there's a problem in northern Kosovo. That said, I can't see Serbia invading, given that there's NATO troops all over the territory, and Serbia's current leadership, while it has a nationalist past, has pulled away from that and basically is interested mainly in joining the European Union, as well they might, given that Serbia is on the border of impoverishment and its per capita GDP is about half that of neighboring Croatia.
Kosovo and Serbia has a long conflict between two states. So always we have tensions in the north of Kosovo. Every time when Kosovo tried to put law there, to make the law function. So there is always problem when Kosovo try to implement the law of Kosovo, and when Kosovo asks to respect the constitution.
Serbia does not recognize this independence of Kosovo, as do practically the countries which represent 2/3 of the nation on earth. Algeria, the Vatican, Mexico, China, Russia, India, so many countries don't recognize the independence. And we've got on one side people who say, well, listen, Kosovo is a state and that's it, and you've got to obey the law. And on the other side, Serbs who say, well, listen, we don't agree with that because we don't agree that Kosovo is independent.
I would like to go back. The question here on the table is, do we think the borders, the internal borders of Yugoslavia are sacrosanct? There's an argument that says that they are not. And on the strength of that argument, Kosovo's majority Albanian population wanted, legitimately in my view, to leave Serbia. However, now that they have done so, the picture flips, and there is an equally understandable desire by the people of northern Kosovo to rejoin Serbia, because north of the town of Mitrovica, about 85, maybe 90% of the people are Serbian, and they're sort of stuck in Kosovo without wishing to do so. And I have to wonder about countries, not just small countries like Kosovo, but enormous countries like Russia, that are so fanatically hanging on to territory that they would be better off without. And I have to ask my Kosovar colleague here, would you not be better off letting northern Kosovo, north of Mitrovica, which is almost all Serbian, go back to Serbia? You'd have a more cohesive country, and by the way, you might then also consider uniting with Albania.
Mr. Velja, please.
Should I answer?
Of course, the floor
questions
is
also
yours.
from the? So there was a lot of discussion 2 or 3 years, these last years, recent years, about the border correction, but there was a strong opposing from the United States and Germany specifically, because they are afraid that if they're going to start with Kosovo changing borders, there going to be also other countries that will be Republika Srpska in Bosnia. There are also Albanians in North Macedonia, and they will be probably opening the Pandora box, and there is afraid for a new conflict in the Western Balkans.
Well,
so
hold on, but the fears happen when there's not agreement. Are you seriously saying that if Kosovo were to voluntarily cede the area north of Mitrovica to Serbia to make both the residents of both countries happier, that the U.S. and Germany would oppose it?
Yeah, but let me answer you with a question. Do you think that Western powers and Russia can guarantee that changing the Kosovo border, an issue that will solve the problem between Kosovo and Serbia and will put peace in the Balkans, will convene also to Russia that always ask for tensions and instability in the region of Western Balkans?
There are no guarantees in the world, but what it would resolve is the problem of the ethnic Serbs in northern Kosovo. Yeah, that would be solved. But whether Serbia itself would be forever mollified, I frankly doubt. But it would continue to not recognize Kosovo de jure while recognizing it de facto. I don't see Serbia, going to war over, Pristina. But I do see never-ending mayhem about northern Kosovo.
But Kosovo and Serbia, I think, that are too small states to decide on such issue that is is too delicate to reopen the issue of borders again and again after 20.
Well, if not the states themselves to find a solution, what better way, rather, to find a solution than the states themselves finding one and not imposed by foreign forces? And in this respect, Mr. Mirkovic, what is paramount here, territorial borders or ethnic homogeny? And in this respect, echoing what Mr. Perry just said, perhaps the two Germany's model could work here.
I think that we have to go back to the negotiation table. We have to discuss. Serbia was illegally bombed by NATO, by the US, France, Germany in 1999, illegally. I think it's important to underline that. To carve out Kosovo out of nowhere. There's no such country called Kosovo in history. There's no Kosovo language. And this was taken away from Serbia, and Serbia got nothing, just bombs. And then it had to rebuild. And again, it's a very poor country today. So that's not fair. Ex iniuria, jus non oritur. You can't build justice out of injustice.
Are international organizations causing more harm than good at this point in time?
It depends on one's goal. If you want to see an independent Kosovo, then you got to love NATO, without which probably they would have been crushed by Serbia in the 1990s. Similarly, NATO, when the U.S. and in a different way the UN intervened to stop the war in Bosnia as well. If your goal was a greater Serbia, then clearly we're not well served. I do think, however, that intervention by the West probably served to diminish the bloodshed, which, as it is, was epic.
Is the EU membership bid strong enough of an incentive to figure it out on both ends?
Serbia, I think, wants to enter EU. I think Serbia wants to keep on being a neutral state. That is its status. It wants to be independent and do the business it wants to do with whomever it wants to do on Earth. It wants to enter the EU, but not under the pressure of the secession of its land.
But would you not see the value in the grand bargain, where Kosovo and Serbia both enter the EU, guaranteeing Serbian access to its heritage sites and its monasteries in Kosovo and so forth, and the border moves, my Kosovar friend, to enable northern Kosovo to become part of Serbia, but everyone's one big happy family in the EU, and everyone's richer for it.
But I mean, that's a nice idea, and I think everybody would sign right away if that were possible.
Well,
the problem, I think, I would just say on my side, is that a lot of people in Serbia just don't trust the EU. Don't forget that EU states and NATO bombed Serbia, and that 20 years after that, there still is prejudice against and hate crimes against Serbs in Kosovo. And we're saying that tomorrow, the people who haven't succeeded today will do better tomorrow. So that's why there's a lot of people who are hesitating. I think a lot of people want to enter EU for all the good reasons that you've mentioned, but I think there's a lack of trust. Why would they do tomorrow what they haven't done today?
But if everyone signed on to a grand bargain that would be to everyone's benefit and would diffuse the core issues that are causing the angst today, why not promote it? Why assume that logic cannot prevail?
But the EU has to take that responsibility and say, listen, we're going to try to broker some sort of agreement.
Are the Balkans the next battlefield between the U.S. and Russia? Dan Perry, always leaving us with some food for thought. Your concluding remarks?
I think one should never underestimate Vladimir Putin's ability to wage a proxy war anywhere, especially the Balkans. But I think he's busy in Ukraine right now.
I'll get that on a T-shirt for you next time I see you around. Mr. Besnik Velja, Mr. Nikola Mirkovic, and Mr. Dan Perry, thank you very much for this 2-minute break, and we're back with more.